All right, so obviously I teased it right there. Tennessee going on the road to face a Missouri team that, hey, they're going through a lot of the same issues, Shane. Just lost a tough game on the road, a game that could have been won. Just unfortunate, the interception in overtime, and now there's people questioning this defense, Steve Wilks. So, there's a lot on the line for both of these teams. And considering Tennessee lost a game similarly against Pitt, one that a lot of fans thought they were going to win, I think there's some added level of importance to this Missouri-Tennessee matchup because, hey, I'm not trying to say you can't go to a bowl game if you lose this one, but, man, you're putting yourself on thin ice if you're the Tennessee Vols or the Missouri Tigers and you drop this game on Saturday. Has that entered your mind at all, Shane?
Mike, I've been thinking about this game all off season.
Right.
It's because I knew. I'm going to tell you right now. I thought maybe we'd get Pitt. I ain't gonna lie. I was convinced we would beat them, and I thought we were going to have to sneak a couple, at least one SEC victory here, other than Vanderbilt. And so naturally, you look at South Carolina, but then when you drop a game like Pitt, then you got to pick the next victim or potential victim. Mm-hmm. So, you're calibrating throughout the season here. So, yeah, the way Mizzou's been playing, the way we've been playing, this could be a hell of a game, Mike. And it's a must-win game, like you said. And it's going to be an exciting game. You may not be a fan of Tennessee or Mizzou, but if you're a fan of offense, there's going to be plenty of it come Saturday.
Yeah.
Do you have the over on this game?
I'm not sitting here looking at it, no, but
65.
You got it before I did. All right, so 65 points. That sounds about right, doesn't it? With two struggling defenses, two offenses that can light up the scoreboard. And, of course, there's the Josh Heupel connection. He used to be at Missouri when Drew Lock had his outstanding season there for the Tigers. So, and here's the thing, Shane. I don't know how much of a factor this will truly play, but Hendon Hooker, of course, couldn't finish a game against the Florida Gators. He looked fairly solid, I thought. Again, that's been my guy the whole time. We don't know whether it's going to be Joe Milton. We don't know if it's going to be Hendon Hooker. But I'm honestly not too sure that makes a difference, Shane, because, while everybody likes to hype up Josh Heupel in this passing attack, they are just as effective on the ground historically in his offense. And I certainly think that's the case here at Tennessee. The running game has been more effective than the passing game after these first four games, I think. And that is the weakness, obviously, of the Missouri defense. So what are your thoughts on that, Shay? Does it matter to you? I mean, obviously you want your best quarterback in a game of this importance, but I think it's going to be more important that Tennessee is able to run the ball on Missouri.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you look at what Mizzou's been able to do through, 4 games, and, yeah, they've struggled against the rush. But, I mean, Mike, that's not Tennessee's bread and butter. Tennessee's bread and butter is stretching this field, getting vertical to create those runnings. It's like that old school mentality of you run first to open up the play action pass. It's like we're the opposite. We need to pass to open up those running lanes because that's going to keep people out of the box. So, yeah, I think it wouldn't surprise me if this game doesn't come down to the rushing, but it all starts with the passing. And the one concern I have, especially as a Tennessee fan, is the efficiency. Because that's one thing we've struggled. We've not been able to get vertical. There's a handful of plays that were productive past 20, 30 yards, and one of them was a screen. So you really that's my biggest deal is if we. It's one thing to throw it deep, but if it's not a true threat, then they're going to be able to load that box up and and snuff out that running game. So I don't know. A lot of factors here. These are two different types of teams, and but like I said, it's going to come down. I think it's going to come down to last possession, Mike. That's kind of the vibe I'm going to pick up from this game.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's kick it over to Josh Heupel, Shane, who kind of previewed the matchup here. And then, he didn't give us much, so there was a really good comment here on Tuesday from Tennessee running back Tyon Evans. So I thrown that on at the end, put a little fire to this game.
Multiple guys that had injuries or got nicked up during the course of the ball game the other night. Don't know where those guys are at. Hendon at quarterback. Not sure if he'll be available or not, so we'll see how that transpires here during the course of the week and go from there. So,
Josh, can you say whether or not Hendon suffered a concussion or if he's in concussion protocol?
he is not in concussion protocol currently. So.
Coach, with the quarterback situation, how healthy is Joe? Where is he at in his rehab? And does that make, with those two guys sort of banged up, does that make this a big week for Harrison?
Yeah, Joe was in a situation where he could play, wasn't at a full 100%. During the week we got him some work, not the same type of numbers that he would have gotten if he was 100%. So I anticipate just through him playing the other night, didn't re-injure or aggravate anything, continue to think that he'll get healthier as this week goes on.
Yeah, looking ahead to Missouri, a dynamic quarterback, good running back that can also catch the ball out of the backfield. Yeah. What have you seen in them on tape?
Yeah, for them offensively, everything kind of goes through that running back, whether it's the run game or him being heavily involved in the pass game. A guy that's been dynamic, near the top in country and just, total yards and productivity. Really good football player, does a great job, wants the ball in his hands of being electric, making guys miss.
Josh, I guess when Cooper May started to get dinged up, maybe his level of play wasn't quite the same as it was earlier in the game. But what did it mean to have him back? And in terms of just sort of what you learned about him, I mean, the guy's out there, he's got a mashed up hand, his legs bothered him, and he's still playing. What's that tell you about a guy?
Tough, competitive, cares about playing at a really high level, cares about the power T, cares about his teammates, wants to be in there. He's a warrior. As the game went on, you watch the film, you can tell that things started to bother him more as the game wore on. He didn't want to come out. He competed extremely hard.
What have you learned, if anything, about Missouri so far, their defense?
I don't really want to get into it. I feel like we're finna have some fun, most definitely. That's all I'm gonna say. We're gonna have fun. We're finna open up this offense and show what we really can do. You know what I'm saying? We just cleaned up our first SEC game, and we hoping to come out this week and just evaluate everything, do our job, and just come back home with the dub.
All right, Shane, so it was last week. Drinkowitz maybe with some ammunition for Boston College. Now it's Tennessee potentially providing that ammunition for that Missouri defense. Gotta love the confidence, but hey, even Tyon had to stop himself here. He knew he didn't want to give too much away, huh?
Yeah, man, but I'm telling you, Florida game was a loss, but it was also I think a booster to some of these young players. I think it was a confidence booster that they can play with some of the best teams in the SEC. Now, again, you got to be careful. You don't want to, it's that old saying. You remember, I remember a few years back when we called Alabama the red team. Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah.
So, just something stupid. We didn't want to think of Alabama as Alabama. We wanted to think of them as just a team in a red jersey, which is stupid. I mean, obviously you're playing University of Alabama. That was obvious when they kicked their ass, but it was ammunition that saving you. So that's the only thing about these young guys. We love it. We love it as media personalities. We love when these players come out and they get fired up. And in all honesty, as a fan, you love it too because it's your boy, man. Mm-hmm. He's coming out and he's getting you pumped up for the game. But as an opposing player, when you think about it, you don't want to give them ammunition and make this game more important than you really want it to be.